There are an infinite number of possible energy transfers between two mind-body-spirit complexes, for each mind-body-spirit complex is unique. In the realm of the mental bodies, there are variations of mental energy transferred. This is dependent upon the knowledge sought and the knowledge offered. The most common mental energy transfer is that of the teacher and the pupil. The amount of energy is dependent upon the quality of this offering upon the part of the teacher as regards the purity of the desire to serve and the quality of information offered, and upon the part of the student, the purity of the desire to learn and the quality of the mind vibratory complex which receives knowledge. Another form of mental energy transfer is that of the listener and the speaker. When the speaker is experiencing mental, emotional complex distortions towards anguish, sorrow, or other mental pain, from what we have said before, you may perhaps garner knowledge of the variations possible in this transfer. The spiritual energy transfers are at the heart of all energy transfers, as a knowledge of self and other self as creator is paramount, and this is spiritual work. The varieties of spiritual energy transfer include those things of which we have spoken upon the subject of the adept. The physical energy transfer may be done numerous ways. We shall give two examples. Each begins with some sense of the self as creator, or in some way the magical personality being invoked. This may be consciously or unconsciously done. Firstly, that exercise of which we have spoken, called the exercise of fire. This is, though, physical energy transfer, not that which is deeply involved in the body complex combinations. Thusly, the transfer is subtle, and each transfer unique in what is offered and what is accepted. At this point, we may note that this is the cause for the infinite array of possible energy transfers. The second energy transfer of which we would speak is the sexual energy transfer. This takes place upon a non-magical level by all those entities which vibrate green ray active. Energy transfer implies the release of potential energies across, shall we say, a potentiated space. The sexual energy transfers occur due to the polarizations of two mind-body-spirit complexes, each of which have some potential difference one to the other. The nature of the transfer of energy, or of the blockage of this energy, is then a function of the interaction of these two potentials. In the cases where transfer takes place, you may liken this to a circuit being closed. You may also see this activity, as all experiential activities, as the creator experiencing itself. The first energy transfer is the red ray. It is a random transfer having to do only with our reproductive system. There is always the red ray energy transfer, due to the nature of the body complex, and which is a function of the second density attempt to grow, to survive, shall we say. This is a proper function of the sexual interaction. The random result of this energy transfer will be as it will be, as a function of the possibility of fertilization at a given time in a given pairing of entities. This is random within certain limits. If an entity has reached the seniority, whereby it chooses the basic structure of the life experience, this entity may then choose to incarnate in a physical complex which is not capable of reproduction. Thus, we find some entities which have chosen to be infertile. Other entities, through free will, make use of various devices to ensure non-fertility. Except for these conditions, the condition is random. The offspring, as we call the incarnated entity, which takes on the mind-body complex opportunity offered by this random act, or event called the fertilization of egg by seed, causes an entity to have the opportunity to then enter this density as an incarnate entity. This gives the two who are engaged in this bisexual reproductive energy transfer the potential for great service in this area of the nurturing of the small experienced entity as it gains in experience. It shall be of interest at this point to note that there is always the possibility of using these opportunities to polarize towards the negative, and this has been aided by the gradual building up over many thousands of our years of social complex distortions which create a tendency towards confusion, shall we say, or baffling of the service to others aspect of this energy transfer and subsequent opportunities for service to other selves. The orange and the yellow ray attempts to have sexual intercourse create a blockage. Firstly, if both entities vibrate in this area, both will have a never-ending appetite for this same activity, seeking to unblock the baffled flow of energy. What these vibratory levels are seeking is green ray activity. There is the possibility of orange or yellow ray energy transfer, this being polarizing towards the negative, one being seen as object rather than other self, the other seeing itself as plunderer or master of the situation. If one entity is blocked and the other vibrates in love, the entity baffled will hunger still, but have a tendency to attempt to continue the procedure of sating the increasing hunger with the one vibrating green ray, due to an impression that this entity might prove helpful in this endeavor. The green ray active individual shall polarize, slightly in the direction of service to others, but have only the energy with which it began. The green ray energy transfer occurs due to the vibratory rate of each entity being undistorted, in any vital sense by the yellow or orange ray energies. Thus the gift, shall we say, being given freely, no payment being requested either of the body, of the mind, or of the spirit. The green ray is one of complete universality of love. This is a giving without expectation of return. The path of energy transfer before the veiling, during the sexual intercourse, was that of the two entities possessed of green ray capability. The awareness of all as creator is that which opens the green ray energy center. Thusly, the sexual energy transfer was always possible without blockage, due to there being no shadow upon the grasp of the nature of the body and its relationship to other mind-body spirits in this particular manifestation. The transfers were weak, due to the ease with which such transfers could take place between any two polarized entities during sexual intercourse. Before the veiling process, there was a near total lack of the use of this sexual energy transfer beyond green ray. This also was due to the same unshadowed knowledge each had of each. Then in third density, there was little purpose to be seen in the more intensive relationships of mind, body, and spirits, which you may call those of the mating process, since each other self was seen to be the creator, and no other self seemed to be more the creator than another. In the instance of the sexual activity of those not dwelling within the veiling, each activity was a transfer. There were some transfers of strength. Most were rather attenuated in the strength of the transfer due to the lack of veiling. In the third density, entities are attempting to learn the ways of love. If it can be seen that all are one being, it becomes much more difficult for the undisciplined personality to choose one mate and thereby initiate itself into a program of service. It is much more likely that the sexual energy will be dissipated more randomly, without either great joy or great sorrow, depending from these experiences. Therefore, the green ray energy transfer, being almost without exception, the case in sexual energy transfer prior to veiling, remains weakened and without significant crystallization. Perhaps the most critical difference of the veiling, before and after, was that before the mind, body, and spirit were veiled, entities were aware that each energy transfer, and indeed very nearly all that proceeds from any intercourse, social or sexual, between two entities has its character and substance in time-space rather than space-time. The energies transferred during the sexual activity are not, properly speaking, of space-time. There is a great component of what we may call metaphysical energy transferred. Indeed, the body complex as a whole is greatly misunderstood due to the post-veiling assumption that the physical manifestation called the body is subject only to physical stimuli. This is emphatically not so. The energy of which we speak in discussing sexual energy transfers is a form of vibratory bridge between space-time and time-space. Due to the veiling process, the energy transferred from male to female is different than that transferred from female to male. Due to the polarity difference of the mind-body-spirit complexes of male and female, the male stores physical energy, the female stores mental and mental-emotional energy. When third-density sexual energy transfer is completed, the male will have offered the discharge of physical energy. The female is thereby refreshed, having far less physical vitality. At the same time, if we will use this term, the female discharges the efflux of its stored mental and mental-emotional energy, thereby offering inspiration, healing, and blessing to the male, which by nature is less vital in this area. If both entities vibrate in green ray, there will be a mutually strengthening energy transfer, the negative or female, as we call it, drawing the energy from the roots of the beingness up through the energy centers, thus being physically revitalized. The positive, or male polarity, as it is deemed in our illusion, finding in this energy transfer an inspiration which satisfies and feeds the spirit portion of the body-mind-spirit complex, thus both being polarized and releasing the excess of that which each has in abundance, by nature of intelligent energy, that is, negative intuitive, positive physical energies, as we may call them. This energy transfer being blocked only if one, or both entities have fear of possession, of being possessed, of desiring possession, or desiring being possessed. The energy transfer occurs in one releasing of the potential difference. This does not leap between green and green energy centers, but is the sharing of the energies of each, from red ray upwards. In this context, it may be seen to be at its most efficient when both entities have orgasm simultaneously. If both entities are well polarized and vibrating in green ray love, any orgasm shall offer equal energy to both. However, it functions as transfer if either has the orgasm, and indeed in the case of the physically expressed love between a mated pair, which does not have the conclusion we call orgasm. Nonetheless, there is a considerable amount of energy transferred due to the potential difference, which has been raised, as long as both entities are aware of this potential and release its strength to each other by desire of the will in a mental or mind complex dedication. You may see this practice as being used to generate energy transfers in some of our practices of what we may call other than Christian religious distortion systems of the law of one. We preface this example with the reminder that each system is quite distorted, and its teachings always half lost. However, one such system is that called the Tantric Yoga. In a schematic representation of the circuitry of two mind-body spirits or mind-body-spirit complexes in sexual or other energy transfer, the circuit opens always at the red, or base center, and moves as possible through the intervening energy centers. If baffled, it will stop at orange. If not baffled, it shall proceed to yellow. If still unbaffled, it shall proceed to green. It is well to remember, in the case of the mind-body spirit, that the chakras, or energy centers, could well be functioning without crystallization. The uncrystallized, lower centers cannot deliver the higher potential difference. The crystallized centers may become quite remarkable in this characteristics of the energy transfer as it reaches green ray, and indeed as green ray is crystallized. This also applies to the higher energy centers, until such energy transfers become an honestation for the Creator. After the veiling, many mind-body-spirit complexes had blockages of the sexual energy transfer, due to the lack of the ability to see the other self as the Creator, or to phrase this differently, the lack of love. It became infinitely more difficult to achieve green ray energy transfer, due to the great areas of mystery and unknowing concerning the body complex and its manifestations. However, also due to the great shadowing of the manifestations of the body from the conscious mind complex, when such energy transfer was experienced, it was likelier to provide a catalyst which caused a bonding of self with other self in a properly polarized configuration. From this point, it was far more likely that higher energy transfers would be sought by this mated pair of mind-body-spirit complexes, thus allowing the creator to know itself with great beauty, solemnity, and wonder. Intelligent infinity having been reached by this sacramental use of this function of the body, each mind-body-spirit complex of the mated pair gained greatly in polarization and in ability to serve. If an entity dedicates itself to the service of the one infinite creator, it is possible to further refine this energy transfer. When the other self also dedicates itself in service to the one infinite creator, the transfer is doubled. Then the amount of energy transferred is dependent only upon the amount of polarized sexual energy created and released. There are refinements from this point onward, leading to the realm of the high sexual magic. With the green ray transfer of energy, you now come to the great turning point sexually, as well as in each other mode of experience. The green ray may then be turned outward, the entity then giving rather than receiving. The first giving beyond green ray is the giving of acceptance or freedom, thus allowing the recipient of blue ray energy transfer the opportunity for a feeling of being accepted, thus freeing that other self to express itself to the giver of this ray. It will be noted that once green ray energy transfer has been achieved by two mind-body spirits in mating, the further rays are available without both entities having the necessity to progress equally. Thus, a blue ray vibrating entity or indigo ray vibrating entity whose other ray vibrations are clear may share that energy with the green ray other self, thus acting as catalyst for the continued learned teaching of the other self. Until an other self reaches green ray, such energy transfers through the rays is not possible. The blue ray energy transfer is somewhat rare among our people at this time, but is of great aid due to energy transfers involved in becoming able to express the self without reservation or fear. The great key to blue, indigo, and finally, that great capital of the column of sexual energy transfer, violet energy transfers, is the metaphysical bond or distortion, which has the name among our peoples of unconditional love. In the blue ray energy transfer, the quality of this love is refined in the fire of honest communication and clarity. This normally takes, meaning in general, shall we say, a substantial portion of our space-time to accomplish, although there are instances of matings, so well refined in previous incarnations and so well remembered, that the blue ray may be penetrated at once. This energy transfer is of great benefit to the seeker in that all communication from this seeker is refined, and thereby the eyes of honesty and clarity look upon a new world. Such is the nature of blue ray energy, and such is one mechanism of potentiating and crystallizing it. The indigo ray transfer is extremely rare among our people. This is the sacramental portion of the body complex, whereby contact may be made through the violet ray with intelligent infinity. No blockages may occur at these latter two levels, due to the fact that if both entities are not ready for this energy, it is not visible and neither transfer nor blockage may take place. It is as though the distributor were removed from a powerful engine. We may say that these jewels, though dearly bought, are beyond price for the seeker, and might suggest that just as each awareness is arrived at through a process of analysis, synthesis, and inspiration, so should the seeker approach its mate and evaluate each experience, seeking the jewel. The indigo ray is the ray of, shall we say, awareness of the creator as self. Thus, one whose indigo ray vibrations have been activated can offer the energy transfer of creator to creator. This is the beginning of the sacramental nature of what we call our bisexual reproductive act. It is unique in bearing the allness, the wholeness, the unity in its offering to other self. There is only a subjective yardstick or measure of a particular ray energy transfer. If the energies have flowed so that love is made whole, green ray transfer has taken place. If greater ease in communication and greater sight has been experienced by the same entity's exchange, the energy has been refined to the blue ray energy center. If the polarized entities find that the faculties of will and faith have been stimulated by this same energy transfer experience, not for a brief while, but for a great duration of what we call time, you may perceive the indigo ray transfer. We may not speak of the violet ray transfer, except to note that it is an opening to the gateway of intelligent infinity. Indeed, the indigo ray transfer is also this, shall we say, but the veil has not yet been lifted. Many of our third density entities are distorted towards the separation of mind, body, and spirit. The energies of sexual transfer would, if run through the undeveloped spiritual electrical or magnetic complex, which we call circuitry, effectually blow out that particular circuit. Contrarily, the full spiritual energies run through bodily complex circuitry will also adversely affect the undeveloped circuit of the bodily complex. There are some who have not chosen, in the particular incarnation, at any time to express sexual energy through the bodily circuitry. Thus, from the beginning of such an entity's experience, the body and spirit express together in any sexual action. Therefore, to transfer sexual energy for such an entity is to transfer spiritually as well as physically. Those entities who, having lost the desire for orange and yellow ray sexual experiences, have strengthened the combined circuitry of spirit, mind, and body to express the totality of beingness in each action. It is for this reason social intercourse and companionship is very beneficial to such entities, these entities being sensitive to the more subtle energy transfers.